Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Unlocking the Magic of Leadership. Now, this is the last week in our series all about unfinished quotes. And I'm super excited to finish this series with an unfinished quote that was sent in by Carol Blackwood. So Carol, 1, thank you for reading. And then 2, thank you for sending in the topic for this week's Unlocking the Magic of Leadership. Now, this week's quote fits into a few of the keys, but definitely inspire yourself and others. So you may have heard the unfinished version of this, aim for the moon. And people will tell you when you're trying something new or trying something hard, aim for the moon. And it's really important to do. But the unfinished quote adds an extra layer to that. It's aim for the moon. If you miss, you may just hit a star. And that's by Clement Stone. And I love this quote for a multitude of reasons, but one of the main reasons is when we think about trying new things, it can be scary. And then when we think about the failure of trying new things, it can be absolutely terrifying. And it reminds me of a time when I was working at Disney, my career was skyrocketing, everything was going really well, and then I aimed for the moon. I took on a stretch assignment,
and it didn't work out the way that I would have liked. I crashed and burned.
So aimed for the moon, crashed and burned. But that moment, that failure, why it was absolutely brutal to live through. What I didn't know at the time, when it was the creation of my business, what I do now. Seeing the stark differences between amazing leaders and leaders that, at least for me, were not amazing, helped really showcase the impact that leaders have on the individuals that choose to follow them. And so all of that wicked 10 months, so hard. All of that 10 months was setting me up to do what I do now. And so I missed the moon, missed it completely, nowhere in sight. But I went beyond it, and that you may just find a star absolutely applies. And so if you think to yourself, the last time that you aimed for the moon, that you tried something really hard, if you got there, fantastic. If you didn't get there, what did you learn? What was the experience that you gained from that? How are you better on the other side? And so this quote, aim for the moon, if you miss, you may just hit a star. It reminds me of another quote by Michelangelo. And that quote is, the greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. And so if you have been looking for a sign to do something hard, consider this your sign. And I am also going to consider this my sign. Carol, you sent in at perfect timing, because y'all know, started my PhD in August. It started 2 weeks after my mom passed away. It was a really difficult time, so hard. And I ended up stopping my program, which to me felt like failure. Starting it again, August 20th, I start back at the beginning, and I really needed to be reminded of this. Aim for the moon, and if you miss, you may just hit a star. So maybe this will be either the moon, getting the PhD, that would be great, or the stars, what comes with it. So if you needed that push, this was your push. Thank you very much for joining me for this week's Unlocking the Magic of Leadership, and for sticking with me through this series, and have an absolutely amazing week. As always, we got this. I'll see you next week.